So hopefully this never happens, but I was thinking, what if World War III broke out? How would I invest through that? Well, the question I had to ask was, what would a military need if they wanted to win, say, a major conflict? Well, they need aircraft, armor, ships, long-range weapons, ordnance, ammunition, rifles. We have napalm, engines, components go into these things. You have medical supplies, you have optics, night vision, food, water, fuel, paint, chips. You have your communication, uniforms, you have metals for the inputs of a lot of these things, chemicals, a lot of fixed nitrogen, a lot of TNT. And then you would also have basically light utility vehicles. So thinking through this, the U.S. has bombers, so B-2s. Those are made by Northrop Grumman. The F-35, Lockheed Martin. The F-22, Lockheed Martin. Now they also take components from other businesses. The A-10 Warthog, close air support, that's going to be Northrop Grumman. The C-5, C-17, basically transport planes, those are made through Lockheed Martin. Tanks, the M1 Abrams, that's General Dynamics. The U.S. Armored Personnel Carrier effectively is the Bradley, that's through BAE. We have helmets and body armor. If you're looking at Kevlar, like more of a softer armor, that's usually on helmets, that's through DuPont. If you're looking at hard plates for body armor, that's usually the Unicorp. And if you're looking at ships, most of the ships we have, such as aircraft carriers, are through Huntington Ingalls. HII is the shortened for that. Battleships, the same thing, as well as General Dynamics. Cruisers through the same HII. Destroyers, same thing. Submarines, General Dynamics and HII. If you're looking at long-range components such as missiles that are launched over a distance, that would include the Tomahawk missile. Those are made by Raytheon. The intercontinental ballistic missiles, those are made by Lockheed Martin, Boeing, Honeywell, BAE, Northrop Grumman. If you're looking at artillery systems, you have the 155 howitzers, that's BAE. If you're looking at the rounds that are actually fired from this, this is General Dynamics. The military is currently ramping up production of the 155 millimeter rounds because Ukraine is currently firing more in a week than we produce in a month. So we're trying to ramp up and add additional facilities and working 24 hours a day, 7 days a week at the current facilities. Surface-to-air missiles, we have the Patriot missiles. Those are made by Raytheon. The Reaper drones, that's GA-ASI. If you're looking at ordnance, generally that's through Lockheed Martin, Raytheon, Boeing, and General Dynamics. If you think about the Javelin missiles that have been used a lot lately, those are made in coordination between Lockheed Martin and Raytheon. If you're looking at ammunition, the largest ammunition supplier is Winchester. Rifles, currently it's the M4 that's through Colt and Remington, but they're looking at the XM7. They're looking at replacing some of the squad automatic rifles, and same with like the M4. So currently it's Colt and Remington, but that may change depending on the next contract. Napalm used to be produced by Dow Chemical. Dow and DuPont have since merged. Engines, you'll see a lot of things from Pratt & Whitney, Cummins, GE, Textron, Honeywell. We also do get some engines from Rolls-Royce, but that's not an American company. Components, you can get a lot of components from these companies. If I think about communication on the battlefield, so you're going to have radar, that's AMD. You're going to have jamming, that's Teledyne, E2V. You need components for GPS, so those are made by Autodesk, Skyworks, and Broadcom. Internet, we have Starlink, Raytheon, Northrop Grumman, L3 Harris, and then a few other companies. You'll have uniforms, so it's made by these companies. Nomex is made by DuPont. Think of any area that you may catch fire, like in aircrafts or around a lot of fuel. They'll have to wear some type of Nomex. They're also used by firefighters. They'll have a lot of metal, so copper, so Freeport, and then lead, aluminum, iron, nickel, chromium. Iron, nickel, and chromium go into steel. For chemicals, basically anything that goes boom has nitro something. So trinitrotoluene, TNT, It's a lot of nitrogen. So these are the places that have been contracted with those orders for TNT. And then light utility vehicles, you have Ford, General Motors. One telltale sign that a war is pretty imminent is if you see blood being transported to the front line, wherever that may be, it's a good indication that they're, whatever side is doing that, are anticipating a lot of casualties. So when you see blood move towards wherever there might be a potential conflict, that's usually a good indication that that side is looking to do something. Anyway, when people got shot, you need tourniquets to stop the bleeding, and that's one of the first things that runs out, at least if you look at Ukraine. They have a shortage of tourniquets. The US also has a lot of bandages, so we would look for military uses quick clot, so if you get shot, basically it stops the bleeding very quickly, in conjunction with tourniquets. Medications, you're going to look at probably antibiotics, anti-radiation, things like that. And I work in the medical field. This is not anything that references my current employer. This is just my own opinion. The U.S. has awarded the contract to Amerisource, this company here, for its medications for the military. Optics, so there's the ACOG is made here, and the next generation squad weapon, basically it focuses automatically. These new optics are crazy because you don't have to do a bunch of calculations to think about, okay, they're this far away, how much bullet drop do I have from this wind resistance and distance. I don't have to worry about crosswind as much. All that gets calculated in these scopes, so it's really ridiculous. So if you've ever heard the US owns the night, it's because everybody's been given basically night vision. So those are made through L3 Harris. You're also going to have to feed everybody. An army moves on its stomach, basically, so meals ready to eat. MREs are made by these three companies. Water, you always have to have purified water, otherwise, within 3 days, somebody's going to die if you don't have water. So there's these companies that do a lot of water purification. You have to think of fuel for all of the equipment. And if you're thinking of weapons or fuel for, say, your aircraft carriers or your nuclear submarines, you need nuclear material, so that's made by that. Paint, think of all the camouflage of every single vehicle that goes out there, including ships, tanks, aircraft. You need paint. So these are the main companies that supply paint to the military. And chips, computer chips, so you have Intel, Northrop Grumman, BAE, Raytheon, AMD, Lockheed Martin, not really familiar with that. NVIDIA, they actually are producing for the UAVs. And then there's Taiwan's Semiconductor. They make chips for the F-35 fighter jet. NVIDIA relies heavily on Taiwan Semiconductor. They're located in Taiwan, so it's just something they have to be concerned with. This company, as well as BAE, are not in the United States. So with companies that are located outside of the United States, if you're trying to defend within a country and your logistics get divided across an ocean, effectively you might not be able to get those components, so it may be difficult to produce the Bradley, or may be difficult to then produce some of the UAVs. Taiwan Semiconductor is effectively the only company that makes the smallest, most up-to-date computer chips. So that would be a concern. So if you notice there's a bunch of green dots, what do the green dots mean? Well, effectively, anything that has a green dot over it is a company that's located currently in the S&P 500. I invest in the S&P 500. It works well through times of war as well as peacetime. And you can see here how many different companies are actually used by the U.S. military. So any defense spending like that also goes into those companies, makes profit for them, and as a shareholder would then return that to us. Just realize that there are good people in every country. There's propaganda on all sides, and it's good people that suffer at the ground level. It's usually somebody that makes decisions that's much higher up and then takes poor people and basically throws them to another country to fight other poor people. So hopefully we never have another world war, but in the event of that, the S&P 500 would still carry a lot of companies that would benefit from the economic side of it. So, but again, hopefully it never happens. I cover a lot of financial topics, including how to make more money, how to save, and how to invest. If that interests you, please subscribe. Thank you for watching and have a great day.